Hi everyone, this is Joey. Welcome to my third video on Power Automate. In the previous two videos, we have created a workflow where you can download your email attachment and upload that into a specific drive when a new email arrives. The workflow will also be able to differentiate whether the attachment is an inline attachment or it's a file attachment, and only file attachment will be handled. Right? And then it will also do one more step to see whether the attachment is a zip file or not. If it is zip file, then it will extract the zip file, extract the original file in the zip file and save that into the specific folder. Right? But this workflow actually still have one problem that we might encounter. In real life, actually, some of the attachment or zip files will be password protected. Right? So this workflow actually won't be able to handle the password protected zip files. Let me give you an example. I'll just write myself an email. Test for zip password protected. Then I choose a password protected zip file. This file, dummy zip file, actually I created already with a password protected. And then let me go to the test workflow manual and test, and then go to email and send, and then go back to the Power Automate interface, and it is running. Just give it a few seconds. Okay, so it's coming out. You can see there already error message coming out. So the run actually failed, right? And if we scroll down to see extract archived folders, we can see that unable to extract content of the file in that folder, right? The reason actually is because the built-in functions or operations within the OneDrive for Business is not able to handle the password protected zip files. So how to solve this problem, right? We can still ask a Copilot. Say if I type how to extract password protected zip files. Okay, it will just tell you, right? Unfortunately, the built-in OneDrive for Business Connected does not support extracting password protected zip files. We will have to use third-party service or custom API to handle this type of situations, right? So in this example, actually, we are going to use a third-party API to do the work, basically extracting the file from a archive file, right? So let me close this one and go back, right? And then probably I'll need to, it's still refreshing. I'll need to turn this workflow off for now, and then I'll create a new flow, automate flow. How I can do this: unzip a password protect email attachment to, okay. And then the trigger, we are still going to use a new email coming into inbox as a trigger, right? So we used Outlook. We choose when a new email arrives under the Office 365 Outlook, right? Then create, and it will just create a new workflow, right, with this name. So so once the trigger is done, we will have to determine whether a attachment is an inline or whether it's a file attachment, right? So basically we need to use the get attachment function or operation under the Office 365 Outlook, because we are still handling the Outlook informations. So the message ID we choose from the previous step basically is the message ID, and then also the attachment ID. We choose the inputs from the previous step, this dynamic inputs, basic attachment ID, right? And then we, for all the parameters, we just clear all. Okay. So once that step is done, then we can see whether a attachment is a inline or a file attachment, right? So we need to put in a control, a condition. So the condition is from the previous step, whether the attachment is a inline. If it is true, then we do nothing, right? So under the true, we don't need to put any further steps, only under the false, which means it's a file attachment. It's not an inline attachment. We will do something. But we still need to do one more step, right? Because we know it's a file attachment. But if it is a zip file, then we do something. If it is a normal file, we do something else, right? So we still need to add in one more control, which is a condition. So from the previous step, get attachment. If the file name ends with .zip, then we will do something. Of course, you can add more criteria, right? Because the archived file doesn't necessarily only end with .zip. It might also end with .ir. So we can still add in, say, the name ends with .ir. And then in this case, actually, it can be either or, right? So all the possibility, it will just run through. Right? It's not really and criteria. So this one is done. So the condition, if it is true, that means it's a zip file. It's either a zip file or it's a IR file. Then we will do something. Here, we need to do something. Let's type in extract. So from previous example, right, we know the extract archive to folder doesn't really work. Extract folder under the SharePoint is not work either. So one thing coming to our view is the Encodium, this third-party API. There is a extract from archive, right? So we click that, then it will just pop up with parameters. But since actually I've already registered archive Encodium connector, so that's the reason why it's just popping up the page that for you to input the parameters. But if it is your first time using this, actually you will have to register a Encodium account, and then the website, the service provider will give you a API key for you to use, right? So if I move to my Encodium account, right? So this is basically my account. This is a 30-day free trial account. It gives you around 500 credits for this 30 days. So once this 30 days is over, it will automatically convert you to a free plan account where you will have around 50 credits a month. If that 50 credits is not enough for you, then you probably need a paid plan to expand that credits to, say, 500 credits a month or 1,000 credits a month. But for this case, 50 or this 30-day free trial is already good enough, right? So I just use that. So I just registered, I received API key. I put in the API key and click create new, then it will just appearing here, right? So once that's done, all these parameter input box will appear. We just need to choose the proper parameters from previous steps. So basically the file contents, we should choose the content type, not really the content type, content bytes, and the password. Password, just now I mentioned, I'm not sure if I mentioned the zip file that I use for test actually has I set a password as 20250503. Basically it's today, right? And then that's basically done. But one thing to remind is this step only extract the files. It doesn't really save the file. We still need to add one more step. Create file. So since we are saving that onto a OneDrive, so we use OneDrive for Business Connector create file, right? And then we choose the path, the folder where we want to save the file. We still use this attachment. And file name, we can use the inputs from the previous step. Basically, the document's file name is the file name, and also the contents, document file contents, right? That's the steps. You see now, Power Automate automatically create a loop for you because there might be multiple files within the zip file, right? So it's just trying to loop through everything, okay? And then in this condition, if the file doesn't really end with any of these zip file, RIR file, right, then we consider that's a normal file. And if it is normal file, we just copy that onto the shared OneDrive, right? So basically, it's still a create file under OneDrive, right? So same parameter, same folder, attachment, file name coming from the previous step, get attachment, basically it's the name of the file, and the file content is the content bytes, right? That's basically all the step that's required to handle this password protected zip files, right? Okay, let me save. Okay, it's already saved, and let's do a test to see whether it works, right? Put it manual and test. Now I just need to write myself again another email. Test for password protected zip files. So I attach one zip file which is password protected with 2025.0503 as password. And then I also attach a normal file to see whether that works. And then I also attach a picture, embedded picture in the email body itself to see the whole flow works, right? And then I just click send. Let's go back to the Power Automate interface. It's running. Looks like it's taking longer than expected. Okay, it's coming up, right? So let me zoom out a little bit so that you can see the full picture. So now you can see it's running, it's almost there. Okay. All right, I think everything is completed. Okay, let's see if the files are all there, right? Okay, so now you can see the file actually is extracted, right, from the, these are actually the two files that's embedded in this two file zip file. And then if you look at the email itself, right, we have this one. Probably let me open this one so you can see 2025.0503. Okay. You see there are two files, right? Password father, password mother, right? And which shows actually it is correct that the file is properly extracted and saved into my folder. passport father, passport mother. And then in my email, I also attach a normal file, right? And it is also properly saved here. And in my email, there is also a inline attachment, and it's properly ignored, right? So that means actually this whole process works fine, right? Okay, so that's basically the flow that we want to create, which can handle one, whether a attachment is a inline attachment or file attachment. Two, whether a attachment is a normal attachment or whether it's a zip attachment. And then if it is password protected, then we will also extract that using a password. And that of course is using a third-party API to do that job, because the built-in extract archive file function or operation is not working. It's not able to handle the password protected zip files, right? Okay, so this is the flow, right? So that's for all for today. Before I close today, actually, I just want to put up a sort of challenge, right? Because if I go into the edit page, you see just now I manually put in the password 20250503, right? But in reality, actually the password will be coming in quite differently, right? It won't be a fixed password for every email attachment, right? It might be a password embedded in the email body telling you, okay, this attachment has this password, right? So in our next video, I'll show you how to handle this kind of cases, that the model or the flow itself can handle, can recognize the password in the email body and use that password as a dynamic input into this extract from archive function, so that you don't really need to have a manual intervene throughout this process. And then next video, we will touch on some of the AI large language models that we can integrate into this automation flow. All right. Okay. Thanks for watching this. That's all for this video. Hope to see you again soon.